I've just spent the day riding this, the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801. I'm in Marseille and we had a beautiful morning and there was incredible roads around here to trial this bike on, and this afternoon it got pretty wet and pretty soggy, so right now I am soaking wet, but it was a brilliant day riding this bike. Earlier this year Husky relaunched the 400s, the 401 Svartpilen and Pilen, but today we were here on the 801, which is the replacement for the 701, and it's a twin. It's the 790 from the KTM 790 Duke. But before we dig into the bike, I wanted to talk about the Pilen and the Svartpilen family and the legacy that we've got now with the twin. So they teased these as concepts in like 2016 at EICMA, and I loved them when I saw them. They had the Pilen and the Svartpilen, and then the 400s to the 700s, and it took a couple of years, a couple of iterations of them at concept stage before they came out. And then 2018 we got the 400s, and then we got the 700s. And it's super rare with manufacturers to start a new model that's got no existing legacy. So often manufacturers dig into their past, and Husky have got a huge past, but it's predominantly in dirt bikes, things like the 400 CR. But when it comes to street bikes, they had a blank page, and they started with the Pilen range. And I'm so glad it wasn't just a one model thing. They've now got this legacy, and with the twin, it's a huge leap for this bike. I loved the 700. The single's such a great engine, but the twin is so much more. You've got all that beautiful style and sort of development that you have from the early concepts. You can still see so much of that in this bike, and it's evolved from the 701. The 701 Svartpilen was kind of more flat track in theme. The front wheel was a 19 and it had the side panels at the back, whereas now with today's Svartpilen, the 801, we've got a more sort of scrambler vibe. They say scrambler, but with the 17 wheels front and back, it's kind of more drift, skids and silliness. So yeah, we had a great day riding this bike. I mean, so starting front to back, as I said, 17s, we've got the MT60 RS tires front and back, which give it that flat track feel. And then this beautiful round headlight with the LED ring, which is sort of a signature for Husky now in the Pilen range. And then you've got this beautifully sculpted tank coming through here, the 790 engine. So it's the same motor as in the KTM 790 Duke. The chassis is totally different. So you've got the steel frame, and then back here you have this cast alley subframe, which is just beautiful. At first, when I saw pictures, I figured this was plastic covers on here, but basically from the mount points back, this is two cast pieces along with the cast swing arm. So the details on it are just beautiful. It has that real Nordic Scandi design through it. It's one of those things you just look at as an object, and there are so many things that take your eye and appeal, and yet it's so cohesive. Details like this line through the tank with the little zigzag here, that's reminiscent of the earlier Pilens. And then the seat. This here, there's an option that you can have a cover here with sort of like a little ducktail on it. You can remove the pillion pegs and change the exhaust. There's loads of accessories for this bike that they talked us through yesterday. But yeah, it's a really striking thing, and it kind of just hits you. And there's nothing else really like it. With the Pilen range, Husky kind of started their own language of design. It was done by Kiska, who are sort of their in-house design team, and they've done everything on these bikes. And I really like the evolution, the way they've kind of kept it moving. And a lot of us today have been talking about sort of where it sits, what it competes against. And we've spoken about other bikes. And do you know what, really? It's doing its own thing. They're not trying to be in a preset segment. They're sort of saying, this is our take on a road bike. And I'm sure there'll be a Pilen to follow, but the scrambler sort of vibe of this with the tires, you can get like a headlight grille for it, you've got the upright braced bars. It yeah, it still feels like a road bike, but it kind of encourages you to do if you see a gravel trail or a dirt path, you go, I can absolutely go and have some fun on that as well. It kind of crosses almost slightly into naked adventure bike territory. One of the bikes that came up was Ducati Scrambler, and I can see that, but on paper, you're a lot closer to something like the Ducati Monster. You've got a weight of about, dry weight 180 kgs, wet 190. There is 106 horsepower in the engine. That's a little bit more than the 790 Duke. That's under the A2 threshold of 100 horsepower. They are going to release an A2 version of this bike as well if you want that. But yeah, with that 106 horsepower, 190 kg weight, fully fueled, it's a really light, dynamic bike to ride. And out on the roads today, we did some really tight, twisty roads through the mountains. And with those nice wide bars, you just have such confidence in the bike. It was a lot of fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun. For me, I'm lofty. I'm 6'4", legs, lots of legs. And I was worried I was going to be too big on this bike because it's a compact, dynamic thing. But they've kind of redesigned the ergonomics quite heavily from the 701. I found myself too big on the 701, but I don't on this. I've got room to move around. I fit into the tank much better. The foot pegs are low. It's quite a low seat height. It's a very approachable bike, but there's space to move around and space to really kind of get involved as you go. Yeah, I had a great day. I'm trying to think what other features I want to pull out and talk about on this. Yeah, electronics, obviously, is a huge upgrade from the 701. There are so many electronic packages packed into this. There is let me get this right. You get 3 riding modes as standard: street, sport, and rain. You may notice there's no sort of enduro or dirt in there. Again, I think that sort of really frames it as predominantly a road bike. You've got traction control, ABS. You've got so many things you can vary within the dynamic settings. You can do wheelie height, anti-wheelie. So you can set the settings of how far you want it to go. That was fun today. I was riding with some very rapid people who were having a lot more wheelie time than me. I think they had maybe a higher setting than I did. But yeah, it was great. There's also something which you don't find very often. In the ABS settings, there's supermoto mode, which disengages the ABS at the back. So yeah, there was quite a lot of skids happening today. People backing it in, going into those downhill hairpins, and yeah, a lot of fun. I think people are going to really enjoy this bike. For me, I've got an adventure bike, and I thought I would do loads more off-roading on my adventure bike than I actually have in the time that I've owned it. And this kind of is almost in between an adventure bike, a naked bike, in between a road bike and a scrambler. It's still got those flat track vibes. There's loads going on, and it really gets me. So yeah, they are due to hit dealers in June in the UK. I'm not sure when they're coming out in America, but you should check one out. You'll enjoy it a lot. I certainly did. I'm going to go get dry and get some more pictures of this. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do check out the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801. I really enjoyed riding this thing.